Roland's making her sign papers now.
Oh, okay. No, I asked,
why did he request you?
because Megan had told him that a friend of hers was working there or whatever, and he just
No
brought me
kidding.
to
Come on
talk
in,
for a while.
Ann.
And Coulter, everyone.
Pull up a chair.
Jim,
Right? The new svelte Jim.
yeah, you do look skinnier.
He is
Thank you.
svelte.
That's what everyone's been thinking.
You sick.
Okay, first of all, I want to thank the Muslims for making it so much fun to get into this building.
Yeah, that's always
It's
the way.
Would
ridiculous,
have been
isn't
here
it?
15 minutes ago.
And I have to give you back your scarf.
Thank you.
Yes.
Wow.
There it is.
What's that about?
I would have forgotten it.
It's yeah.
We went to our favorite post-red eye dive bar, and I'm
Yeah.
so glad you were there 5 minutes after I left.
Yeah, it was. It was
You
on
wanted
the
that
back
scarf
of the
back.
chair.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I've had it for a while now. I don't know what
I
they
would
kept
watch
missing
that
each other.
before I wore it.
Oh, I put it away somewhere nice.
I think he might have rubbed a little bit.
No,
That's what Jimmy's getting at.
yeah.
People are
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah. Why does my scarf feel like a rowing oar?
You asshole! Oh my god! we were just chatting about Syria and
What do you think there, Ann Coulter?
what's
Well, I am annoyed because you take Syria out of the news picture and every single story is some racial conflagration.
Well,
And
yeah.
as you know, my book Mugged just came out in paperback. Or
Paperback.
maybe you don't know since no one will ask me about it. Because of Syria. And no, it's a disaster whenever Democrats are running foreign policy. It's just one bad thing after another. They can't take national security seriously. And, even the New York Times is saying Obama tries to lure Congress into box he made him for himself.
It really is odd. He came out full of, as they say, piss and vinegar at the beginning. The red line, of course, had been crossed. No one really knew what that was, but he said, "Don't cross it." And
Yeah.
apparently, it gets crossed. And now, it's one of the worst things you could possibly do is put yourself in a corner like that,
Yep.
where you say, "Well, if you do this, we're going to have to do something," because now you have to do something, or you
Right.
look weak and.
Well, he does
indecisive.
look weak. Whatever
Yes,
he does,
of course.
he's going to look weak. And it looks like he's looking for some bombing target that will harm nothing. Have no effect. Because,
Right.
I mean, he can't hit the chemical weapons plants, or he could be responsible for spreading
Right.
the weapons. If he does some real damage to Syria, they could retaliate. And then what's he going to do?
Yeah, and also you got to worry about Israel being right there in the middle
That
of the
could be
mix
part of
and
the retaliation.
part of the retaliation.
But at least we don't have to worry about Iraq being in the middle of the mix.
Right, sure.
Seriously, I mean, can you imagine in the middle of everything else going on if you had that lunatic Saddam Hussein, who, by the way, used chemical weapons to kill more than 10 times as many people
Right, yeah,
as
yeah.
Assad has. But suddenly liberals, I don't know if you watch MSNBC, they're all so self-righteous and on their high horses because we are a country that does not stand for this. Hey, where are you guys on Iraq? Because he killed 5,000 Kurds in a single day with chemical weapons.
It really is amazing when you look at how they have been judging George W. the whole time with Iraq. And what you see here is a president that was just going to plow right in there without any congressional approval, with really no one.
I don't think he needs it.
No, he doesn't need it.
No, he's going there because he wants to lure them.
He wants to lure them. and no alliance whatsoever. Not even Britain. Not even England.
I'm actually happy that they said no. I don't care how many people they gas. That whole population hates our guts. Syria hates us.
Yeah.
I don't care what goes on in that nation. It has nothing to do with me. Mind our fucking business and stop trying to run the world. And that includes Iraq and Afghanistan.
Yeah.
Fuck them. I don't care what they do. Stop.
Well, I admit that there is a certain irritation to going in and building democracy at the cost of great American sacrifice and then having them be ungrateful jerks about it. But Rumsfeld and Cheney will give up on Iraq before I do. I think that was a magnificent war. Obama is trying to destroy it. It's the one place we have democracy. It's an Arab Israel. We had we didn't have a million, but we literally had 10 reasons to take out Saddam. He had tried to assassinate a former president of the United States. There were 20 UN resolutions against him. We did find chemicals of mass destruction. We didn't find stockpiles. You know why? He had moved them to Syria.
That is kind of ironic these days. It's like, oh, wow, okay, that's where they went.
Yeah.
That's where these came
remember,
from.
there was an Iraqi general. He'd worked for Saddam Hussein, Georges Sada. Remember that? I have his book. And he did the TV rounds. He was a Christian. Iraqi, and he was on America's side from the beginning because Saddam was a lunatic, and he said, and he had been a general. He said, "Oh, we were going gangbusters. I mean, obviously, we were using weapons of mass destruction. We had them. We were developing nukes." And he wrote a book and went on TV, saying we put them on trucks and moved them to Syria.
Yeah.
We kind of knew that was happening too. I think at the time we kind of knew that they were being shipped over to Syria. And
Right.
I guess nothing we could do about
What's
it.
the time table on this whole thing now? I mean, the element of surprise. Holy
I
fuck.
think that's missing.
Oh my God! Just
Yes.
do it.
We're
If you're gonna
attacking
do
you
it, just
too.
do it.
Yeah. It really is
Give everyone time to make vacation plans.
astounding.
Holy fuck!
This Obama's making Clinton
It's
look like George
unbelievable.
Washington.
Yeah.
But what is the timetable now? I mean, we have
I
to wait
guess
for Congress. but
has to
As
get
soon as he
back
can
on
blame
the-
it on Congress.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
They're making the case. They're going to make their case.
I couldn't get past John Kerry's face. What do you think's going on there?
Yeah,
Coulter?
something's going on.
It's
He's
really
so
creepy.
embarrassed he was sucking up to the Assads not 5 minutes
Yeah,
ago.
that
And
picture went around
God.
this last couple of days. I'm having dinner with Assad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now,
When was that?
admittedly, it was fairly recently.
It was.
Right before he became Secretary of State.
Right.
But not only that, I tweeted out last week, which I vaguely remembered. It was only last year, January 12th, Vogue ran a fawning profile of the Assads, a rose in the desert.
Yeah, a rose in the desert.
Now, I understand, and I think it's kind of silly of liberals to complain. Remember that photo of Rumsfeld? I think it was Rumsfeld shaking Saddam's hand 20 years ago.
Yeah,
because most of the time we're not at war. We don't want to be at war. If we're not at war with a country, yes, we try to have decent diplomatic relations.
Right.
That is different from sucking up to them and having fawning profiles.
And just the irony of watching Kerry, the Secretary of State, pleading this case for his boss like that. It's it rings a little familiar of what we saw.
Do you
the
think
liberals
Obama
going
wants to
crazy
attack
about.
him now, or he's almost hoping Congress says no and takes the embarrassment off him? Because once Britain said no, we just look like kind of dickheads going over there.
I
Maybe he
think
wants them to say no.
I think he'll still fire missiles like Ann said into like the side of a mountain, even if they say no, just so he's like, look, I'm resolute. I do this. I honestly think he'll still do it.
I hope Congress says no. I don't know what
I know.
John
They're gonna
McCain
say
and
no.
Lindsey Graham are thinking. What they
Yeah.
need to
They're gonna
vote
say
on
no.
is, could we have a vote on that ultimatum you gave?
Yeah.
Can we vote on a time machine to go back and have you not issue an ultimatum?
Right. No ultimate. What president puts himself in that situation?
Reagan would have, but then acted on it without, that Reagan would have
Without
and then acted on it.
blinking.
Yeah, if you're going to do it, act on it and just shut your face. Don't.
I think you do. I don't think Reagan would have because you don't want to give them warning. This
Right.
guy's doing so much, like you say. How long are we going to
That's
talk
unbelievable.
about this?
Yeah. This guy can move
Whatever
anything, anywhere he wants at this point.
It's really unbelievable.
So any attack would be useless anyway.
It's just not our problem. I mean, if it's comes to a threat
Right.
to Israel, Israel can handle it. They can handle the entire Middle East. They don't need our help. I'm tired of running over there and trying to fucking clean that shithole of a fucking place up. The entire Middle East is a shithole, and it's not my problem.
And the picking and choosing with how we get so high and mighty of where we're saving the children is ridiculous. Why is that any more important than the millions of other children that are dying on a daily basis for whatever other warlord or this one or a corrupt government?
Yeah, where are we in the Sudan? Where are we in fucking Rwanda or Somalia?
Right.
No,
Yeah.
well, that's why these humanitarian interventions, and that's always the excuse Democrats use. They never want to say, we're doing this to help America. And in fact, in Bosnia, remember Clinton did those bombings?
Yeah.
Madeleine Albright and I think Secretary of Defense Cohen, they both publicly bragged about the fact, and Clinton, we have no territorial objective. We have no interest in this is purely humanitarian. Well, then don't do it, because these are American soldiers who have volunteered to defend America, not to go around doing humanitarian missions. Also, you can choose wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, the whole pick and choose and what gets priority over something else. I don't I've never seen a pattern.
Does it make us safer?
Yeah,
But what does
Does
this
it
have
make
to
us safer?
What does this have to do with Ann Coulter's book?
I know, Mug. Well, that's just it.
Point.
You know, we could talk about this Syria crap all day, but obviously,
There's a book to be sold here.
when the Trayvon Martin trial was going, Trayvon Martin trial, the George Zimmerman trial was going on. It was a perfect example of a lot of the stuff you cite in Mugged.
Yes, yes. We went back to the racial demagoguery of. Well, you guys are from around here, right? Remember New York and the 60s, not so much 60s, 70s, 80s,
No,
right?
they remember the
until,
60s.
right up until really, I'm in the argument of my book is right up until the OJ verdict, and then white America just said, "Screw it, we're done." The white guilt bank is shut down, and we had peace. You could finally publicly discuss the shockingly high crime rates among young black males, and it wasn't helping. Denying it. What's funny about the Trayvon Martin case is this campaign to persuade America that black Americans are being menaced by white men across the country. Oh, come on!
Yeah.
Even blacks don't think that.
You would be hard pressed to find a handful of those stories.
Right.
On a weekly basis. Then, meanwhile, the black on black crime that's going on is astounding, and the black on white crime that is unbelievably swept under whatever carpets mainstream media could find. Is rarely acknowledged.
What is because it drives me crazy too, and it's like, what is it's like this sickening mindset? Like, no one is sitting down going, let's edit this for rate. They never have that discussion. How do they all agree on it? Like, I don't know what's happening mentally. Is it a guilt thing, or is it the fact that certain people can't accept the fact that there are blacks that just don't like them, so they try to? I don't understand what they're trying to do. I don't understand what the mentality is.
Well, it's not guilt. That's the only. They always claim this is white guilt.
Right.
That's just part of their deep feeling. Well, no, because they're never apologizing for anything they did. I always say it's not a mea culpa. It's a thea culpa. It's not I'm racist. It's you're racist. Everybody else is racist. But here I'm the pure white liberal.
Well, maybe the guilt they feel is the guilt over their own privilege. Like, maybe they feel like even uglier guilt, which is I'm white, therefore I know more and I'm better, and I feel almost guilty about that. It's like not even a guilt of I've done something wrong, but the guilt of I am. And I am so
I think you have to get away
powerful.
from the guilt. It's bragging. It's arrogance. They think they are absolutely perfect, and they have no black friends. They arrange their lives to live in neighborhoods where they will never encounter a black person. They have no black viewers for their shows.
And their names are Anthony Cumia, Opie Hughes, and Jim Norton.
Yeah, but if I could just say, A, that's not true, but B, you don't go around claiming, attacking other white people as if you are the spokesman for black America. I don't think, you have an obligation to be friends with someone of a different race for the good of society, but liberals do, and then they're living in glass houses.
But this phoniness that they have has done nothing but harm the black community. It's made them completely dependent on the government.
Yes.
And there's this lack of, I forgot who I was talking to, a lack of something called shame. To be shamed at something it's an incentive to not do that thing. There's this acceptance of this horrid behavior that if you just turned around and said, no, people don't act like that, perhaps it might get through to one or two people. Or instead of just apologizing for the way people act and have leaders talk about other issues like how this white on black Holocaust of crime that's going on apparently, maybe that would do something. But until somebody does something different than just Jesse and Al and all the rest and dumb white people. It was actually a beautiful period for about a little more than a decade after the OJ verdict, because blacks were suddenly being treated like adults. They weren't coddled. People didn't walk on eggshells. You were a lot less worried. I mean, you probably felt this a lot, Jim. I think people who talk publicly, you weren't terrified that you could mention that blacks commit more crimes than whites and lose your career. It was more sexual content years ago. Like the FCC was going to get down on you for dropping an F-bomb or you're pandering to this or that. And then it turned to where, hey, nappy-headed hole, and he's fucking fired, and it got really strange and dangerous to even
Obama brought
open your
it all
mouth.
back, and it was a little bit him intentionally, but it was mostly the left supporting him and the media because, and you see it now, how they use the issue of race to defend every single thing he does.
Everything comes down to, if you watch MSNBC and they're explaining anything Obama does and it has this negative air to it, it is absolutely because he's black and white people hate him.
Yeah.
That's every answer they've come up with.
Yeah.
Amazing.
The Tea Party, they never found any racism from the Tea Party.
No. Where were all those protests where people were spitting on black people and it never materialized?
That was shocking.
Yeah.
That was a shocking one. I mean, they had written the press releases on that before.
Yeah.
That was the protest against Obamacare. And I don't think, incidentally, that John Lewis ever made the claim himself that he was called the N-word.
Right.
He allowed others to say it. He didn't deny it.
Well, once it gets out there, and we saw what happened with the Zimmerman trial, once bad intel gets out there in the public, they don't care what the real facts are.
Right.
I mean, if you and to this day, if you discuss the Zimmerman trial with people, they will insist that a young black man was trying to walk home and was shot in cold blood. They leave out the parts about, Zimmerman being punched in the face.
Yeah, but Zimmerman was told to stand down by an authority figure,
Yes.
and he did not.
By a general from the army, he was told to stand down. Do not leave your vehicle because that apparently is illegal. It's like I always mention. I was like, the first illegal thing that happened in that entire evening was Zimmerman getting punched in the face.
Right.
That's it. Anything up till then, don't even talk about it.
Right. And I have mentioned this in a column. It's hard to come up with the reverse facts because you do not have white people besieging blacks in America, despite what they say on MSNBC. But there was a case about 10 years ago in New York of a black homeowner and a group of white thugs came to the end of the driveway and were, yelling and
menacing his son, I think. That started with the son, in the driveway.
And he never had to leave his home. Call the cops, and his son knew who the kids were. They could have tired themselves out, gone home, and then the police could have visited him the next day.
Right.
And the father went out and gets in a fight with them, and he shoots and kills one of the kids. And I remember at the time, and you can still see it online, people were on the homeowner's side, and he was black, and the kid he shot was white. If you're going to go up and punch someone or harass someone, I'm sorry, you may get. I'm sorry, but you may get killed.
There's never any. There's no sense with the double standard, and I don't think there ever will be. We're just. Today, there's a story in the news about a 1-year-old that got shot. His father, I guess, 25 drug arrests. He's a gangbanger. His father, he's strolling his 1-year-old down the sidewalk, and I guess they were saying he must have been the intended target, but, the kid gets shot in the head and killed. And you're just seeing all this outrage and people, oh, my God, this is a shame. When two black young men shot a white baby in the face, instantly the mother was being blamed. They were saying it was an insurance thing. This is no way.
What happened with that? Was it actually those two?
Oh, yeah.
They were just found guilty.
Right?
Yeah, just found
It's
guilty.
not on the news anywhere.
No, it's not on the news.
Well, luckily we
a
have
story
the
over the
internet,
weekend.
so they can't hide it from us anymore.
Right.
Where is it?
But that double standard is amazing because I've seen this story on the news and they're talking they need to find who did this. There's a reward. No inkling that this 25 times he's been arrested and gone through the system for drugs and whatnot and gun crimes. This father, that he had something to do with his kid's death just by being a gang member.
Right.
The media is also the part of this was brought on by white people like Susan Smith, who blamed black guys for killing her kids, and then the media went ballistic with because they never check anything, they just run with it, and then they look like such absolute assholes.
Yeah.
That they are so paranoid about making that mistake again and looking like they're racially
you're gonna
biased.
get that.
No, I know.
Right,
But
because you have to come up with a story that's believable.
The lacrosse team, that was a bunch of bullshit too.
Yeah.
Done the other way around. Those things are going to happen, but you can't hold it up as the rule. Again, the same thing as the white on black crime. You can't make that, oh my God, we have to deal with this problem. No, you want to deal with a huge problem, deal with the black on black violence that's going on and crime.
And that's
address
what blacks want and historically have. They used to take the NAACP would take polls back in the 50s and 60s. And even after a police shooting a kid, they do a big poll. What's the biggest problem in your neighborhood? This was in Harlem in New York. Number one problem, crime. Bring more police here. Martin Luther King was constantly calling for more police. He said it's the pestilence of the ghetto neighborhood. It's crime. And people never think about the poor, decent, especially, elderly and mothers who are living in these neighborhoods beset by criminals. Stop and frisk helps them. It's not really to help me.
Right. Yeah, well, that's a huge issue, too, the stop and frisk. I don't know. I've seen some of these mayoral candidates, and boy, it's hearkening back to the good old days, I guess you could call it.
The golden era of David Dinkins.
Yes, yeah. Just watch the opening credits to like Taxi. Right. You'll get a good idea of what
grimy,
what kind of gritty New York. Right. People love a good gritty New York.
French Connection.
Yeah. Well, we could be seeing some grittiness coming back. Yeah, when I'm hearing, he'll take money from the rich and give it to after-school programs. So, it works so well.
Bloomberg grew on me. I hated him for years because he's such a nudge and an old lady and a fucking moo-moo. But I'll tell you one thing. Now you look at him, you're like, what is it you don't like? I don't like fat people. I love it. Stop eating, fatso.
I don't like that.
They're frisking too many white people. I'm like, this sneaky cocksucker. I fucking love him. I really, looking back on it, I'm like, I shouldn't have hated him as much as I did.
I agree 100%.
Because he did stuff like when we all knew it was an Islamic guy planning a bomb in fucking Times Square.
Right.
Maybe it's people against health. He did a few of these things that are such annoying sound bites. But when you look at what he did, he really went after he really targeted fatties and he targeted a few other people. He didn't give a shit.
Well, and ferociously defended stop and frisk.
Yeah.
I love that press conference where he came out and said, well, I've looked at the statistics and actually we're stopping too many white and Asians.
Yes, he said we're stopping too many whites and Asians based on the crime stats.
Yeah.
Yep. It didn't jibe with the,
And that is an honest talking. But if you were to come out with a stat and said, like, X amount of blacks are being attacked by white police officers, maybe you'd be right. But nobody would argue that statistic is racist. But if you give the other statistic, people say it's racist.
Yeah.
That's another thing Bloomberg has been into is a strong police force.
Yeah.
And, NYPD, it's amazing how many other cities you see just completely lose control over their streets and even after game celebrations get a little crazy. And boy, the NYPD has gotten really good at shutting down anything that even starts.
But that could change overnight. And if a Democrat becomes mayor, boy, are New Yorkers going to remember the golden era.
Yes, the golden era. All you have to do is strip the budget. And
it's a good run.
That was really everything that turns New York around. But the crime rates we had under Dinkins, you couldn't go to parks. Commerce was not possible. That, walkway they just built. You could never do that in the old days. It would be instantly covered with graffiti.
Yeah. Yes. That too. You look at the trains back in the old days, the good old days, and it all did start with getting that criminal element off the street and getting a stronger police force in there. And boy, if that goes away, it dominoes. Yeah.
Yes, but maybe it'll help Joe Lhota. I mean, I didn't think there was any shot for a Republican to win because after you've had a Republican regime, whether it's at the national level or the New York City level, people forget what it was like. And, let's try a Democrat. What didn't I like about them? I can't remember. They're going to remember fast. But if the end of stop and frisk brings back some level of crime, as it seems to be doing, you probably talked about this last week, these young thugs on the street are taunting the cops, saying, you can't stop me. And one guy was yelling at a cop saying, ha, you can't stop me, ha, 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 no stop and frisk. He turns to walk away and a gun falls out of his pants.
Dummy.
I tweeted it out yesterday if you'd like to see the story.
We were on vacation last week. We're going to have to check out that story.
I think it was my last tweet.
Nice. And Coulter on Twitter, right?
Yes. And Mugged is out in paperback.
Yeah, so it's cheaper and easier to carry to the beach and on airplanes.
Exactly.
Did you add any pages?
It's great.
Like some people do.
I added an introduction because it is true. They absolutely refused. The one thing my book really accomplished was liberals, even on MSNBC, the official race baiting station,
Yes.
stopped race baiting once the book came out, because the day it came out, I could say last night on Hardball, Chris Matthews announced that the word Chicago is racist because Romney had just used it. So he knew, that I was going to go through my entire book tour, watching MSNBC and reporting what insane thing they said. So we didn't get any of it. And then, election came. I went home. Book tour is over. And then the first thing was Republicans opposed Susan Rice for Secretary of State because she's black. Does anybody remember who Bush's Secretary of State was?
Yes, same last name.
Yeah.
Right.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, it really. I don't know what could be done about it. Is it a cyclical thing?
Sure, when they're running Hillary, we'll all be sexist.
Oh, God, that's right. Yeah.
I'm an optimist. I think it's eventually, we really are. I'm telling you, we are paying for a long fucking weird racial history in this country. And now this is just where we're at generationally. It's going to take a little, it will balance out. It's going to balance out.
But it did balance back. That's what's so frustrating.
You can look back years ago and...
Maybe language-wise, a little bit it balanced. Maybe even after OJ, people were like, what the fuck are we doing?
And suddenly, I do not think Giuliani could have been as tough on crime but for the OJ verdict. Because that it just didn't work anymore, calling people racist. I don't think O'Reilly could have gone after Jesse Jackson the way he did. Remember that? It is one of the greatest things O'Reilly has done, demanding he come on the program, talking about his finances, and suddenly, poof, Jesse Jackson was no longer the Pope of the Democrats. You used to have to go kiss his ring. So now you have Sharpton with a show on MSNBC. We're regressing.
Even though Fox did
palling with the president.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Fox didn't go after Sharp after Jesse like they should have either. When he dropped that N-bomb, he mumbled nigger, and he mumbled it, and everyone heard it, and they played it, but they didn't kill him for it like they would. Even
that's
Fox
because he was
didn't murder
talking
him.
about Obama.
Exactly.
I wouldn't really attack him for that.
Coulter.
Jesus.
That was a fair point.
But isn't it fun? Like, nobody wants to touch it when it's,
Yeah.
And Fox could have really buried. Maybe that was the thing they kind of held back. I don't know why they.
People just forget things too. You're right. Like.
Thank you.
They forget the fact that Reverend Al Sharpton was this just local level shill.
Thug.
Yes.
A thug.
Pretty much a thug.
I watched that documentary on Morton Downey Jr. that's on. It's hilarious. Oh, is that great?
Really?
And Reverend Al is shown prominently in that, just being kicked off his chair, rolling around on the stage.
Wasn't
You're
that Roy
"This
Innis that
guy-"
attacked him?
Yeah. It's like, this guy has the president's ear now.
Yeah. Well, he is all over my book. I'd forgotten because I go through all of the famous racial conflagrations
Greek
in the
homos
70s and 80s. And I'd forgotten everything he was involved in. I mean, not only Tawana Brawley,
Crown Heights,
but
Freddie's Fashion March,
Howard Beach, and then after the Central Park rape, he brought Tawana Brawley to the trial of the Central Park rapists to announce to an angry black crowd that was screaming and taunting the poor woman who had been raped and nearly killed, and announcing to the press, I want to see what justice is like for a white girl who's been raped.
Oh, my God.
A grand jury looked at this for 8 months. She made it up. They even found the feces from the dog
right.
in the apartment building where she had been living.
He just how he has a show and is invited to the White House. It's beyond me, because people forget 9/11 is
Yeah.
That's amazing how quickly that went. Remember all the American flags on everybody's car and letting people get in traffic. I remember.
First.
I was on like the BQE, and you could still smell the smoke, and you see smoldering and stuff. You're like, no, go ahead. I'm not beeping at anyone today.
Yeah.
We're all together here.
A tear in your eye.
Yeah.
Jesus.
And now
we're back to being go fuck yourself.
Now we're calling a Muslim terrorism workplace
violence. Yeah.
violence,
And that's hurting, by the way, the soldiers. The fact they did to Hassan because they're not getting like whatever they should get benefits wise.
That's right.
They're
Yes.
fucking them by doing that. They're hurting guys who should be getting better taken care of.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's we're fucked. I don't know how else to say it.
I know.
I don't know how else to say it.
Dark
It
now.
looks grim. It does look grim. I can only hope things get better. And you're always such a blast to have on here. Your book,
you
of
for
course,
having me.
mugged in soft cover now.
Yes.
Very good. I'm glad I returned your scarf.
Thank you. I
So,
only get up early for you guys.
That's very cool. Yes.
Although we did just see you on Fox News.
Well, the only reason I did it was because seriously.
Yeah.
Totally
Exactly.
seriously. Mm-hmm. No, I booked this first.
Yes.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
They won't have me on anymore.
Why?
I don't know.
What did you do?
I didn't do anything, actually. I was actually pretty good. I joked about what candidate did I say looked like a pederast?
That might have done it.
That could do it,
I
Jim.
forget who
Which
it was.
show?
I was on the Fox Morning Show once, and they had me booked 2 days in a row. And I said to my publicist, I guarantee you I make it one day. And then I did the appearance, and she goes, yeah, like they booked somebody else tonight. I'm like, I know. I understand. It's acceptable.
Oh, you knew that.
it's-
was gonna
Hannity will still
happen.
have you on.
Hannity and Red Eye will,
Yeah,
yes.
so you're still
yeah.
on
Although
there.
Hannity's moving times. I don't know where he's going.
Yeah, that's a big mystery.
Yeah, I
you don't
don't know
know
what the
when
hell
it's starting
happened
either,
there.
but I guess it'll be
What's
either
up?
7 or
What's
10.
up with that?
Is that bad for him?
I don't think so. I mean, it's good for his personal life because
Yeah,
he
yes.
kind of screws it up when he's on radio and when he's on TV.
He's got a long day.
Yeah.
He has
yeah.
enough. He has a tremendous amount of viewers.
Oh, yeah.
they're not-
He's doing
Oh
really
no,
well.
that's right. And not only that, he's just behind Rush Limbaugh on radio. 14 million listeners.
Jesus.
It is amazing.
Yeah.
Should go back to afternoons and kick his ass.
Yeah, right.
He's kind of scared of that to this
That's
day.
hard to do
Yeah, I bet he is.
these days.
We should go back.
That is the
Conservative
only kind of
political
radio that
talk.
can do it is political talk.
Oh,
They
that's-
can't
yeah.
come after you.
That's it. That's
Because although they wouldn't have to rush for that thing over that.
Fluke.
Yeah. Sonic
Oh,
Fluke.
God, right.
But it's like the only safe place anymore because there's no
the only place
humor
you can
involved.
speak openly.
Right.
So they can't go after you because you're not trying to be funny. So you can say what you want. You
Even-
can say that blacks commit more crimes, but if you do a joke about it, you're fucking doomed.
Even sports
Yeah.
talk is getting soft, but
Yeah.
political talk, you could still speak your mind.
Kind of, yeah.
Not pretty much.
You just can't be funny. That's
No,
fantastic.
don't
No.
be funny.
Yeah,
you're
tell a
right.
joke with it, you're done.
Perish the thought you're funny. All right, very cool, Ann. Thanks for coming in. And,
Thank you for
hopefully,
having me.
Hopefully, I'll be a red eye with you soon because that
I
was.
know that was so
was a lot of fun.
It's such
Do
a
you
cool
guys
show.
do you guys drink a lot together?
We like to tip a few back.
Yeah.
It's fun.
the
Ann
fact
is
that
a
I
blast.
walked off without my scarf
Yes.
should give you some
I
hints.
just feel like there's more to that story.
No, last
We
time
let
it
you
was
go
like,
on that one.
Last time Judge Alex was there. We were hanging out and
Wasn't that
drinking
fun?
with
Yeah, 'cause
Judge
it was
Alex.
right at the
and,
time of the. They
Yeah.
just had the verdict. It was like the Monday after the verdict, right?
and there was yes.
We had him on. He was cool. He's
great.
Yeah. And then there was
Friday
some.
before.
There was a couple of guys too. One
Look, they're
guy was a
hazy. They're not really sure
a
who was
soap
there.
actor,
Right,
And,
and
the
the-
other guy was a cancer surgeon,
Right.
And we were fawning over the soap actor. What a bunch of dummies! It's like, wow, you were on this. Like, yeah, you and your cures for
Yes.
cancer.
You were on Days of Our Lives and you saved them.
No,
My
Ann's
next
fun,
book
man.
comes out October 14th, so I'll be back.
All right, we'll
Yes.
have you
This
It'll
back.
be the next time I will get up in the morning.
Yes.
How do you write? Like, I'm amazed that you have such a prolific writing. It's hard to make yourself write, and I know you're like a late night creature, but I don't know how you make yourself write every night. I get so bored. I go online, I look at porn. Like you just sit down and go, all right, from midnight to 4, I'm writing, and that's it.
No, I really hate liberals, and it drives
pours
me.
out of you.
It pours out, and you'll see this one isn't like one of my usual books. It's a fun book because my thought was after the election. I'm glad I didn't have a radio show, but you guys can you aren't just political. I couldn't watch political news. I couldn't listen
Yeah,
to
I
political
tapped
yeah,
out.
yeah.
After
Yeah.
the election, I completely tapped out.
Totally.
I'm done.
And I'm only slowly getting back into
Right.
it. So I
Yeah.
think most Americans are like this. And I want to, I wanted to ease conservatives back into it because we have important midterm elections coming up.
Yes.
So it's a fun book rather than
Oh, very cool.
yeah, it'll be fun.
A
Yeah.
change of pace.
A
for
change
Ann
of
Coulter.
pace.
It's a pop up book about liberals. And every time a liberal, the letters B O O O O pop up.
You gotta love Weiner. You gotta love Weiner not dropping out though.
That is
That
really
would
funny.
help
It's the
loads,
greatest
too.
thing ever, or what?
It's
We might
so
be able
funny
to slip a Republican
It's
in.
hilarious.
to have him just
I love that he's not tapping
campaign.
out.
He was at the Caribbean
Love
Day
it.
Parade, and he's just trying to get everyone behind him. Here, I'm
Did
here,
you
I'm
see he
doing
has
this.
Rent a Crowd?
Oh yes, he
Rent-A-Crowd?
yes, he actually paid people, an organization, a company that ships in people
To follow him around.
follow you around.
And
Like,
acts like they're supporters.
Yeah,
Oh, no,
we need
you can
that.
do that?
Let's
I want to
do
hire
that.
them from me.
just walk
Oh,
around.
my God. Yes.
Let's do that.
know.
How much does that cost?
Rent a crowd. How do you know that he did that? It came
It
up
was
with-
printed in the newspaper.
Yeah, so it's got to be true.
It's got to be true. Where was it? I was about to say which newspaper, and I couldn't think of which one. But it came out. It was something like Mediaite, Politico. I'm not sure. But
Yeah.
the crowd sourcing company. It's out of California, and it sounded quite well sourced. I mean, there were direct quotes from people working for the crowd.
And if there's a crowd around Anthony Weiner, where else are they coming from?
It's
I'd
also
show up.
believable.
Yeah, well, Jim.
I'd stand around him, fucking just swap cell phone shots. Look at the angle I got on this one, Tony. Wow, I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah,
I want to hire a crowd to follow me and cheer.
We should
Yay.
do that. Yay for
supporters.
us.
We need supporters.
Yeah, it's like but some ridiculous cause.
Yeah.
Like I'm saying mandatory workplace erections and I'm getting people to cheer for that and fucking fight for it. Some ludicrous.
All right, we gotta take a break. I think.
Yeah. And thanks so much, man.
Thank you
Thanks
for having
again.
me.
And Coulter, everyone.
This is the Opie and Anthony Show. Sirius XM.